So I'm in a bit of a content blackout at the moment. I'm waiting for parts on both the RS4s, the Porsche Boxster, and the RS3 has got to go to Audi for the mechatronics. So I find myself a bit like, what do I do? So this gives me the perfect opportunity to reveal to you my new project car that I've had sat here for months, and I've got big plans for this car. It's not going to be just a straightforward fix, it's going to be a bit more in depth, and I've got big modification plans for it as well. So let's get on with the video, and please welcome my new Golf GTi. Now, I thought I'd just jump on the inside because it's starting to rain outside. It is very windy and my camera can barely handle a light breeze, let alone a strong gale, which we seem to have at the moment. So, welcome to my new project car, a Volkswagen Golf GTi, and we'll get straight into it. I'm pretty sure I'm 95% sure I've paid way too much on this. It's got damage that I didn't expect, damage that's worse than what it is. For those of you who don't know, I buy my cars blind. I just go on judgment, looking at online pictures, past history and stuff like that. So I've done all right from it. I haven't really got stung that badly so far, but I think this is going to be the worst one. Before we get in the workshop, I just thought I'd talk to you about it. So it's a Volkswagen Golf GTi 2014 on a 63 plate. It's the performance version. All importantly, for those of you who've been watching the mechatronics issue on my RS3, it is a manual gearbox, which I'm now starting to be very thankful for, because I bought this car actually about 2 months ago now. I bought it with the intent to unveil it straight away. However, having to redo the RS4 engine rebuild, the B8, it got pushed back, and then obviously I had the opportunity to buy the supercharged RS4 B7 as well. It got pushed back even further, but I've now just started to buy parts for the car which are going to be hard to hide. So I put a poll on Instagram the other day and you guys voted unanimously that you wanted me to reveal it. So here we are, I am revealing it. So the main reason I bought this car isn't just to repair it and get it back on the road. I have much bigger plans for it. So let's get the Golf into the workshop, onto the ramp, we'll look around it, and I'll talk to you about more what I plan to do. But before we can get the Golf into the workshop and onto the ramp, we need to take out the B8 RS4. And for those of you who are new to the channel and you haven't seen this car before, then I did a full engine rebuild on the RS4. So click on the top corner to go and watch that, obviously after you've watched this video. And also while I'm here, you've got the B7 RS4 supercharged as well. Click in the top right hand corner to watch that video if you haven't seen it either. And if you like both of those videos and you're not subscribed to my channel, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. So let's get the B8 out, Golf in. Well, there's my leg workout done for the week. Now, before I get it onto the ramp and into the air, I'll show you the interior quickly, because that's a lot harder to do once it is on the ramp. Pretty standard procedure. The only real good thing is that the dashboard airbag hasn't blown, so we don't have to replace the dash. However, we have a steering wheel airbag that needs replacing and a driver's knee airbag. I'm hoping they should be both fairly straightforward to replace though. Other interior is just pretty standard minging stuff. Stinks of weed, mould on the seat belts, mould on the seats, especially in the back there. Just absolutely filthy. I think it was a girl's car, judging by lip stuff and all sorts of other rubbish. Yeah, just dirty. It's nothing too bad. No real damage that I can see. I think my steering wheel buttons are missing there. So I think that's the only other bits of damage I can see actually. Well guys, the Golf is up in the air and we are going to look under it, to the side of it, on top of it, you name it, any angle, we are going to look at the damage. Now, I forgot to mention one bad thing, and I bought this car from Cinetic, and when I bought it, it's Cat S, I bought it with a key. So in the description it said, keys, yes. Now, you could argue I bid slightly more than I would have done if it didn't have a key, because it had a key. Now, when the car turned up, it had no keys. Now, obviously, I got straight on Cinetic and said, wrong about, you've said here that the car has a key, so where's my key? And they're like, oh no, that's only a guide. I was like, well, what do you mean it's a guide? It either has keys or it doesn't. And they were just like, look, it's just a guide, don't take it as gospel. So I was like, well, hang about, so if I'm bidding on a Golf GTi, is it going to be a Golf GTi when I turn up to collect it? Could it be a Polo or a Yaris? I mean, that's an absolutely ridiculous thing to say, it's only a guide. It either has keys or it doesn't. It's either yes or no. There is no guide about that. So as you can tell, I'm pretty pissed off with Cinetic about that, because that's cost me effectively an extra 160 quid when it shouldn't have done if they'd have just said, no, it doesn't have a key, which isn't hard to tick a box, is it? So, rant over there, first thing. So now I've just looked around the car as well, and it's bad news, guys. This is a lot worse than I thought it was going to be and hoped it would be. Now, let me know in the comments how much you think I paid for this car, but I'm now beginning to think I've paid way too much for it, and I don't know if this is going to be cost effective to repair. So let's just have a quick look at the obvious damage. The main things I've noticed is this pillar. Well, it's not really a pillar, it's just like a leg up here. It's what the wing bolts to, and it's also what the top panel bolts to via this bracket here. It's not a structural part, it's nothing major, it is literally just a body part that extends off the top so that various parts can bolt to it. That is completely crumpled up to about here. So that's going to be well, it's not going to be very difficult to replace, but we are going to have to possibly either cut and weld a new bit in, or replace the panel as far back as it can go properly. I haven't looked into that yet. So that's a one bad thing that I've noticed so far that's going to be quite difficult to repair. I don't think we've got chassis leg damage. They are bent back, the tabs, both this one and that one. But I don't think the actual leg's damaged. I won't know until we remove a few components to confirm fully, but I think that is okay. Now, just going around, I've noticed one other very bad thing as well, and that is, if I show you, see that? Oh, see that massive hole in the sump? Which means there's no oil in the sump at all, which means the car could have possibly ran with no oil in it at all, which could mean that the engine's knackered. Now, I don't have a key, if you didn't already know, so I cannot run the car. Now, I've ordered one when I got the car some months ago. I've got a key now, but it's not coded, so I still can't start the car. So I have no indication whether it runs or not. So apart from the obvious, let's have a quick look what else I can find to write this car off. So here we have a wishbone that's completely mangled, which would explain why the wheel sits very close, touching to the chassis side rails. What else can we find? Everything apart from obviously the hole in the sump, everything else looks okay. There's no subframe damage that I can see. Because this is a performance, we have an electronic diff. Everything else looks okay this side. So what we got here, what's this? What's this that's broke? What's it got this side? I know, I think that's standard. I think it's meant to be like that. But I can have a good look at the chassis rails from underneath it. So, oh, where are we? Says our chassis rail, look, that looks okay. And also, so does this one. So if we can just see it, look there, look. It's just at the end where it bolts that they've bent round a little bit. So that may be our only saving grace, that the chassis rails on the front aren't bent. But everything else down the car looks okay. So, well, I'm not even going to bother showing the back. The back axle is absolutely fine. So, there's quite a lot more wrong with this car than I thought. So we've got a potential engine knackered. We've got a potential problem with the top chassis rail, bent wishbone, and God knows what else. So guys, there is the first initial overview of my new project car. Now, I've got some bad news. I've had a look at the damage, it's worse than I thought. There's more things wrong than I thought. I've paid a lot for the car, and I've got some bad news. I'm gonna sell it. I've decided to cut my losses and get rid of it. It's just not gonna be worth it for me. Nah, I'm joking, of course I am. In the spirit of saving salvage, it wouldn't be right to sell this on and not at least attempt to repair it, and that is exactly what I'm gonna do. Yes, I have paid too much for it, that doesn't change. Yes, I do think the damage is more than I thought, and I could have a knackered engine. None of that has changed, but I just feel in the spirit of saving salvage, it has to be at least attempted to be repaired, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. And knowing that I've paid too much for it, and knowing that by the time I've paid to repair it, I don't think I'm going to have any profit in it whatsoever. What is the most logical thing to do? Of course, let's chuck loads more money at it and big turbo it. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not going to mess around with this car. Once it's fixed, I'm going to give it a big FU and we're going to big turbo it. So I haven't finalised the details just yet, but I want to achieve as close to 500 brake horsepower of this car as I can. Now, if the engine's knackered, then that's great. That's gonna be more content for you because you're gonna be watching me rebuild it, and then I'll obviously, if it does need rebuilding, I'll forge the engine. I'm hoping personally that isn't the case and it does run, and hopefully the engine cut out as soon as it lost its oil. That's what I'm hoping anyway. But if it doesn't, then you're in for a treat because you can watch me forge the engine. So I'm now going to go and do some research about what parts I can get, but I'm going to be looking for as close to 500 brake horsepower as possible. However, it is a manual, so torque is going to be a bit of an issue. I think for a clutch, without going for a proper track type clutch, which isn't usable on day to day. I want this to be a daily driver, by the way. So I think an organic clutch is going to be the best option, and they can handle about 420 feet of torque max. So I'm going to go for I think it's going to end up being about a 480 turbo. That is my plan anyway. So as close to 500 as we can, but torque limiting, obviously for the manual gearbox. So I need intercooler, downpipe, high pressure fuel pump, probably new injectors, new spark plugs, new coil packs, 4-bar sensor possibly. I don't think I'll need a new tank lift pump. I'm sure there's some other bits I need. Obviously I need a turbo as well. But yeah, that is what we're going to do. We're going to fix it, enhance it, and get it rapid. Oh, and I forgot to tell you the best thing about it. Not like these other channels where they'll spend all the money on the parts and they'll go to a garage and the garage will fit them and then they'll just show you afterwards. I will be fitting all the parts myself, and I'll be doing absolutely everything myself bar the mapping. Obviously I won't be able to do the mapping, so I'll have to take it to a tuner to do that. But turbo, downpipe, intercooler, intake, all that I will be doing myself and filming for you guys, as well as obviously the full documentation of the repair process. So guys, if I have caught your attention with my new Golf GTi project about documenting the repair process and then the whole tuning big turbo, then please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. So that is the overview of my new Golf GTi project car. In the next video guys, we'll be stripping down the whole front end to proper assess the damage, and what we're going to do, we are going to repair the damage first. We're going to get it back to a roadworthy condition, get it on the road, make sure the car's absolutely fine, and then we'll bring it back in to do the tuning. So as always guys, thank you very much for watching. Catch me in the next episode when we'll strip all the parts off and make sure she is good to go. Cheers guys.